Let's fast forward now to 2022, to a situation that the entire world was made aware of, obviously, when Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, tweeted this. He tweeted, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because Black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." It's good to look at his tweet now without it being interpreted in the media, especially that last sentence. "You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." Now, at that time, obviously, the reason why people were looking for me to make a statement is that this tweet came very close to the time that I had taken the notorious picture with Kanye West. We both wore White Lives Matter t-shirts at his fashion show in Paris. Again, me teaming up with Kanye because I have a laser focus on the Black community, and I had a laser focus on wanting to destroy Black Lives Matter as an organization because I knew that they were lying to the Black community. So again, my entire relationship and what I did publicly with Kanye was based on Black America. But again, because this tweet came closely thereafter, people were looking at me to comment. And the truth is that I was aware behind the scenes. Kanye gave me conversations, I read them in their entirety, of very specific Jewish people who I would say were definitively making threats against him. And so I had more knowledge than the public had when he shared this tweet. Now, what happened thereafter was I tried to caution the public the very next day following his tweet. So he had done nothing else yet. He had done no interviews. It was just the tweet that had existed in the public sphere. And I was trying to essentially say to people, hold your horses, because I think that once he explains what's happening behind the scenes, you will realize that he's not talking about all Jewish people in the entire world. He is feeling passionately about certain people that he works with. And here is what I said in an attempt to get people to hold their horses. Take a listen. That was the tweet. And people subsequently demanded that the tweet be taken down for anti-Semitism. Now, if you are an honest person, you did not think this tweet was anti-Semitic. You did not think that he wrote this tweet because he hates or wants to genocide Jewish people. This does not represent the beginning of the Holocaust. That's if you're an honest person, you'll admit that. You will admit that, right? If you're an honest person, when you read this tweet, you had no idea what the hell he was talking about. I had no idea when I read this tweet what the hell he was talking about. This tweet inspired questions, not answers. First and foremost, what is DEFCON 3? Did he mean DEFCON 3, which would be a military defense position, not an offense for those of you that are offended, a military defense position? Is he tweeting this because he's reading the Newsweek headline calling him an anti-Semitic? Is he angry because he can't believe that he's not free to talk about people in his life who happen to be Jewish, right? Without being accused of anti-Semitism? Is he saying, I'm not going to shut up and I'm going to keep tweeting and I'm going to keep calling these people out, referring to his friends that he feels slighted by? Is he talking about Jared Kushner and Josh Kushner? If you're a liar, you'll say, I was scared, Candace. I actually thought that Kanye West was going to launch a military strike in Israel. Because that's the reaction. Like when I woke up and I looked at the headlines, the reaction was like Kanye West had gotten together a military strike and it was going to go forward in the morning time in Israel. That was the reaction that was met with this tweet. So that's what I said. And now that we're looking at it and examining it in the retrospect, you can see that I'm trying to suggest to people that there are specific people and he is having a reaction. And I will admit, if I fumbled the ball here, and I can understand why people were upset about it, they read that as, no, she's fully defending him, and he actually does want to go DEFCON 3 on all Jewish people everywhere. People were very upset that I had said that. But I want to be clear that I had actually read the messages that were being sent to him. One of them, he ended up sharing publicly. This was a text message from Harley Pasternak to Kanye. And this was something, again, that I had read before he had sent that tweet. Text message reads, I'm going to help you one of a couple of ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words, and everything that is discussed is based in fact and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to Zombieland forever. Playdate with the kids just won't be the same. Is that a normal tweet? I will ask you guys, a normal text message, for somebody in your life, and Harley Pasternak, yes, he is Jewish, to send to you. He's supposed to be a trainer. What do you mean I'll have you institutionalized again? What does that mean? That your playdates with the kid, you're threatening somebody's relationship with their kids, right? Now, when you do something like that, it can drive somebody crazy. And again, I will own it. If it read to people at that time that when I was saying that, I was defending his right to impose upon every single Jewish person in the world, I apologize. And I'm hoping that this clarifies for you what I knew, the information that I had, and my understanding that he was responding to threats that he was actually getting from specific people. And I was hopeful that he would talk about that in a larger capacity, but then quite surprised when even when he did share that tweet, there was a minimal media response to it. It was sort of like, oh, well, Harley Pasternak is allowed to say that. And shame on you, Candace, for not recognizing it. But I want to be clear, that is the extent, what you just saw, of my commentary on that situation that led to a huge reaction, calls for me to resign, calls for me to get fired for defending Kanye West. I want to be honest here and tell you that I was also made to endure a very severe financial consequence behind the scenes because of those words that you heard right there. And one day I will talk more about that. You have my word. Let's fast forward instead to 2023. I'm scrolling through Twitter and a journalist, and again, this is just a few weeks after October 7th, and a journalist named Yashar Ali is, I think, being pretty measured in his responses. I think he's pro-Israel based on how he tweets and what he tweets about. But on this day, he was focused on something that Brian Mast, a congressman, had said on the floor. Yashar Ali tweeted, "This is absolutely sick stuff from Rep. Brian Mast, and if there's any decency left in Congress, a resolution will be passed to condemn his remarks, and he'll be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee. I'm not naive enough to think he'd resign." So I saw this tweet, and then I clicked to see what Brian Mast said, and I was equally as disgusted. Here is what Brian Mast said.
As a whole, I would encourage the other side to not so lightly throw around the idea of innocent Palestinian civilians, as is frequently said. I don't think we would so lightly throw around the term innocent Nazi civilians during World War II.
I hope that enrages you, because what he's basically saying is there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian life. And basically, I believe, was laying the groundwork for genocide. That's genocidal language to say about any group of people. If I say there's no such thing as an innocent Iraqi, it doesn't matter who you're talking about, that is genocidal language. And so I retweeted this and I said, yeah, this was disgusting, utterly dehumanizing. Of course, there are innocent civilians on either side of every conflict, and we should not forget that. This is shameful, inhumane rhetoric. I shortly followed up that retweet with a blanket statement: no government anywhere has a right to commit a genocide ever. There was no justification for a genocide. I can't believe this even needs to be said or is even considered the least bit controversial to state. Of course, what Brian Mast said was wrong. When I tweeted that second tweet, people thought that I was talking about Israel, or some people thought I was talking about Israel. They were so far in the trenches, they thought that I was making a statement that Israel is committing a genocide, when in reality I was saying that people like Brian Mast need to cool it with their language. I get something bad has happened, but you can't say stuff like this ever. And so what happened was people who were formerly friends of mine, like Dave Rubin, began reading into it, began doing shows, just pretending, straight up pretending that I made a statement about the Israeli government when in fact I hadn't. I just showed you the proof that I had not. I liked Yashar's tweet. I retweeted it. I was obviously speaking about Brian Mast, but it didn't matter. Because what I learned, and what I think a lot of people are learning, and especially on the heels of my discussion with Rabbi Barclay, is that even if what you said was something else, how some people feel should be prioritized. So even though I was talking about Brian Mast, and I was proven right in talking about Brian Mast, I was still at fault. I needed to understand that I was still wrong because of how other people felt, that the timing of my tweet wasn't right. It wasn't the right time to say that genocide is always wrong. There's a time and a place for that, and that was not it. Then it got even weirder because people started just spinning conspiracy theories. They started saying that I was coordinating with Tucker Carlson to intentionally get fired from the Daily Wire. I'm not kidding. People were beginning to say, and Dave Rubin was among these people, that it was so obvious, gosh, why else would someone say genocide is always wrong, right? That I was trying to get hired by Tucker Carlson. There must have been some coordination between us. At 40 weeks pregnant, this was my big, bad plan. This was psychopathic. None of this was true. There wasn't an ounce of truth to that statement whatsoever. In fact, I refer to this as Ianon. It was like Israel Anon. It was a conspiracy theory born of absolutely nothing, but the onslaught continued. People attacking my character, saying horrific things about me simply because I didn't like what Brian Mast has said. And of course, most notoriously, everybody remembers that a clip started circulating of Ben Shapiro here at Daily Wire making ad hominem attacks on me, which I chose not to respond to at that time. I didn't think it was appropriate. But that, of course, just fed more people that were attacking me. Grand Canyon University is a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. GCU believes that our Creator has endowed us with certain inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They believe in equal opportunities and that the American dream starts with purpose. And they equip you to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing, creating a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. So whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, Grand Canyon University's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your goals. GCU has over 330 academic programs as of September 2023. GCU will meet you where you are and provide a path to help you fulfill your unique academic, personal, and professional ambitions. Find your purpose today at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. That's gcu.edu. So what is the actual point of that? The attacks have not stopped. You've seen this. You saw that in my conversation with the rabbi. He is now starting to share with everybody that I'm enraged. You have Rabbi Shmuley. She's deranged. She just hates Jews so much. Smear after smear after libel after libel after libel, and it will not stop. 2 years of consistent threats and harassment from Rabbi Shmuley and his hag daughter, and they have not let up. They began, by the way, they jumped into the game on the basis of that clip that I just showed you. I'm not ashamed to show you guys what I said because nothing was anti-Semitic. I was just trying to tell people that more was happening behind the scenes. That's it. Not make any claims or yelling or saying all Jewish people are this or that. And yet people are saying definitively that I am a Jew hater. I'm a Jew-hating bigot. That's what Rabbi Barclay said. What is the point of this? I want you guys to actually ask yourself this. When people say they're going to Michael Jackson you, what are they actually referring to? Well, I have a suspicion that what they mean is that all of these attacks are meant to drive me crazy, right? To drive someone crazy, to make threats to their life, to smear their reputation, to libel them, to make them somebody who can't even be hired or work within a certain industry because they have been so forceful in their lies and in their smears. Basically, then to drive that person to a point of anger so that they might tweet something that's angry, that they might tweet something that appears to be irrational to the public so that they can turn around and they can say, told you so. I told you Candace was crazy. I told you she was deranged. I told you she was an anti-Semite. But what's really happening is that you have specific people that are in the Jewish community that won't stop attacking me. They won't stop attacking me. And I think most people, after years of enduring this, would in fact be driven crazy. People actually just yesterday, after listening to the full hour and a half discussion between Remy and Rabbi Barclay, said, Candace, I don't know how you do it. This would drive me crazy. Yeah, add years of that. Headline after headline, smear after smear, and ask what sort of person would still remain this calm. I want to be clear. What is happening is a form of psychological terrorism. What they're doing to me is a form of psychological terrorism. They want me to snap so that I can then prove their point. Actually, my options are two. Either we're going to keep smearing you until you snap, or you can simply comply. And what is the thing that they want me to comply with? I'm not sure. I think I've been pretty rational and I've been pretty level-headed. I don't understand why they have been engaging in this sort of smearing. And this is why I'm terming this merchants of smear, because what they're doing here is they're constantly threatening people behind the scenes, publicly threatening people by smearing their reputations, and they never, ever, ever take a break. This business just keeps going on and on and on and on. And the point is, again, to make me submit. Another example of that, this is rather shocking, I'm not kidding. Yesterday, a journalist, and I'm putting this into quotation marks, despite all of the debunking that I did in that long article, in that long interview with Rabbi Barclay, already was jumping on the next smear. His name is Isaac Shore. He writes for, you guessed it, Mediaite, as well as the New York Post, and he is now publicly calling to have me fired. He's written a lot of articles, by the way, and he talks to a lot of people behind the scenes, telling them not to run any pieces on Candace Owens. Don't talk about Candace Owens. This guy's like, he's doing a real hit job here. And like a total rational journalist, he tweeted, "How long will the Daily Wire stand by Candace Owens? No one is asking the Daily Wire to stop Owens from peddling hatred and conspiracy theories. They're just wondering why it's choosing to subsidize such behavior." Yeah, totally a rational thing for a journalist to tweet. He accompanied that with an article by the same title, "How long will the Daily Wire stand by Candace Owens?" Because as you've seen, I've showed you the whole history.